So the Niners, who hadn't lost a regular season game in seemingly forever, are now on a 2-game skid. They fall behind. They're on the road. Those are tough games to win, blah, blah, blah. So the Niners are now 0-36 under Kyle Shanahan, 0-36 when they trail by 8-plus points in the fourth quarter in the regular season or playoffs. They don't have the big ability to come from behind. First of all, A, it's hard to come from behind when you're down by over a touchdown in the fourth quarter for anybody. And B, there's a reason for it. Because the coach and the system are the star, not the quarterback. Who does come from behind to win down 8-plus? Marino, Elway, Brady, Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes, all-time greats. But in San Francisco, the system and the roster, because you don't pay the quarterback anything, is the star. And we now see the limitations to this. It's why Kyle's the best coach in the league, arguably, without a trophy. One mediocre quarterback, two good quarterback, has won a Super Bowl in 20 years, Nick Foles. And it was a shootout to the very end. So last night, Brock Purdy made some good throws. I've said before, he's good. I won't go to very good or exceptional. He's not big, doesn't have a big arm. He's not a big-time athlete. He's good. He makes more good throws than Jordan Love, but I think Jordan Love's a miss. He's good. But in the last 2 weeks, missing a couple pieces, on the road and trailing, it doesn't feel the same. Remember how Mahomes struggled all night? Remember against the Jets, struggle. Then there's 7 minutes left, and against the Jets defense and Robert Saleh on the road, it's like, all right, boys, jump on my shoulders. I'm going to carry you down, slide by the goal line, walk out of here with a win. It's what Jalen Hurts and Kansas City do with Mahomes. Mahomes and Hurts are 12-2 this year. And until this weekend, I didn't think either offense had an identity. But when you have a star quarterback, Jalen Hurts in Philly, Mahomes in Kansas City, you can trail in the fourth. You can play poorly. You cannot have an identity and keep stacking wins. There is a way Brock Purdy has to play, and it's leading in the fourth, getting good protection. He's good. He's just not very good. No, he's better than Trey Lance, C.J. Beathard, Nick Mullins. Got better numbers than them because he's a better player than those. But if you look around the NFL, you know how this thing's going to end. It's going to end like it ended for Jimmy Garoppolo, and I think Brock Purdy is a healthier, more mobile, cheaper version of Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think he has a significantly better arm or a significantly better athlete, but he's healthier, moves a little better. You can move the pocket, no doubt about that, and he's cheap. But last night told us what we know, that Brock Purdy is good. He can make good throws. There's a lot of guys in this league. They're good. But great and special wins that game. Go back to the Mahomes-Jets game, and that Jets defense is significantly better than Minnesota's defense. And when San Francisco got the ball back with 1:11 left, you know it, I know it, we were all thinking the same thing. They got no shot. Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, you'd be like, we got ball game here. When they got that ball with 1:11 left, you were sitting there even as a Niner fan thinking, man, can't believe we lost this game. You knew it. And so again, if you'd have had Hurts, you'd have had Mahomes, Burrow, and those are the ones that are going to end up hoisting trophies. And so I think I know how this thing's going to end for San Francisco. They're going to be in the NFC Championship or the Super Bowl, and you're going to be discouraged. And it's not going to end the exact way you want, even though you're absolutely sure you have the better coach and the better roster. Again, Purdy was good, but not special. All right, speaking of good, not great, I want to talk about Kirk Cousins here. And I think it's really interesting who Kirk Cousins played his greatest Monday Night Football game against ever, San Francisco. And I'll get to that in a second. But it's very interesting that it was Cousins over San Francisco. So the Vikings are 3-4. They're not a Super Bowl team. They may wedge and sneak their way into the wild card in the weaker NFC. But if I could, I would trade Kirk Cousins today. If I was Minnesota, I would trade him today. Got a week left of the trade deadline. It's the best he's ever played. It was a standalone game, and it was against the Niners' great defense. His stock is at an all-time high today. But he has a no-trade clause. Now, you can trade everybody eventually, but he's going to want to go to certain places. You could get a first-round pick, in my opinion, today for Kirk Cousins after last night, or maybe a couple seconds. That's a high point. He dominated the Niners, toyed with them after that first interception. He was great with a rookie receiver. No Justin Jefferson. Toyed with the Niners. Buy low, sell high. And the Vikings' next 6 weeks are nonsense. Look at the quarterbacks they play. Jordan Love, Desmond Ridder, Justin Fields, maybe Jimmy Garoppolo, Russell Wilson struggling, Derek Carr. You could see them going 5-1 with Justin Jefferson coming back, Jordan Addison emerging as a star wide receiver, a very clever offensive coach, TJ Hawkinson, one of the best tight ends in the league. You could absolutely see Minnesota going on a run, and it would be the same tease you've had in Minnesota for 6 years. He'd then go on the road against Philadelphia and get boxed. He'd go on the road and face the Niners again and get worked. He'd go on the road and have to face Detroit and get smoked. You know how it's going to end. I would trade him today. But he has that no-trade clause, right? So Kirk's reportedly wants to stay put, and everybody loves him, and he is lovable, and he played great last night. But it is interesting because I believe when Justin Jefferson comes back, I believe this team is going to go on a little bit of a heater now, mostly due to facing bad quarterbacks or second-tier quarterbacks. And you're going to get nothing for him at the end of the year because you're going to double down again and do this? You're really going to bring this thing back again for 3 or 4 years? I mean, seriously, what's the standard? In your division, the standard is the Packers, Super Bowls. Bart Starr, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Super Bowls. I mean, the Vikings aren't winning them. The Twins aren't winning them. The T-Wolves aren't winning them. That market is wide open. Go get a star quarterback. And we even said this in the offseason. It kind of felt like they were ready to move on. So you've got to take your emotion out of it. Today would be the day, get on the phone and move Kirk Cousins. But what's going to happen? And it's ironic because one of the teams, and I do think he'll have a market. It may not be a huge market. It'll be a 4-team market. Derek Carr was a 2-team market. Garoppolo was a 1-team market. This will be a 4 or 5-team market. Maybe a 6-team market. Maybe a 4-team market. But you know who's going to be in that market? Ironically, San Francisco, who will end up potentially being very disappointed that Brock Purdy can't beat a Philadelphia and Jalen Hurts. Or even a Detroit and Jared Goff. Don't sell your Lions because of the Ravens. Don't do that. Nobody beats Baltimore from the NFC. If you've never faced Lamar Jackson before, the first time you do, you get smoked. 16-1 is Lamar Jackson against the NFC. Don't sell your Lions stock. They're going to win 11, 12 games, make the playoffs, host a playoff game. Detroit's good. Maybe not great. They're good. But it was interesting watching this. Brock Purdy, he's good. He's very, very, very good. I kind of feel like I know how it's going to eventually end. Kirk Cousins is great, and I feel like I know how that's going to end. But hear me out. Even though he has a no-trade clause, everything's tradable. If I could, I'd get on the phone and move him today. And then I'd lose some games. It's a great college quarterback draft class, at least very good, and I take my chances. Kirk Cousins has big-time quarterback games, usually not on Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football, and almost never against great teams, right? He's got a really bad record against playoff teams, standalone games. That's why when he has his best standalone Monday night game against the Niners, I'd get on the phone today. And I know they call it Minnesota nice. People in Minnesota are nice. He's the best. He was on Netflix. Everybody loves him. This is the high point. Now, what's the market for him? I don't know. You'd need somebody to get an injured quarterback that's pretty good in the next week. But it is interesting. Everybody today is like, look at Kirk. And I'm like, I've seen it for years. I know what he is. He's good. He's somewhere between 10 and 13 in the league. We know he's good. If you love Dak, you got to love him. If you love him, you got to love Dak. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.